Hey everybody, happy Independence Day. I figured today, of all days, it was the most important day to cover the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America. It's a document that still resonates to this day with me, because every reason we told England to fuck off, we now just let our government do to us all over again. So I figured I would go ahead and read this, let you all ponder on it on this beautiful day. So here we go. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one person to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume, among the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinion of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just power from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established shall not be changed for light and transient causes, and according to all experiences hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while the evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity to which constrains them to alter their former system of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is the history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object to the establishment of the absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for public good. He has forbidden the governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operations till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to the tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measure. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative power, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposes to all dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for the purpose of obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither, and raising the conditions of the new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administrations of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary power. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render military independence of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, given his assent to their acts of pretend legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with other parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us, in many cases, of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English law in the neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule to these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislature and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging wars against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is, at this time, transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny. Already begun the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages and totally unworthy of the head of civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas, to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends, brethren, and to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us, and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an indistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by their ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connection and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we would hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these colonies are, and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from the allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connections between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right to do. And for the support of this declaration, with firm reliance on the protection of the divine province, we must mutually pledge to each other our lives and our fortunes and our sacred honor. These men did not write or sign this lightly. They flipped off the king. They decided to go to war with their fellow man, their fellow brethren, in order to create this country. And we've gone through the Constitution. It's very clear what they were trying to found. But there are so many things in here that resonate today. For many who don't know, for many who haven't watched, our right to trial by jury is under threat. There are many companies and giant conglomerations that are removing that, and instead you're going to arbitration, which strips you of all rights and is a rigged system. We have mock trials that continue to go on. The media skews everything, and you don't have a trial. You are getting social justice instead of actual justice in this country. The number of taxes that have been imposed on us with zero limitations. Consider this document. Consider what these men fought for, and then take a really good hard look at our government and our system and how it's treating you, and ask yourselves, does that resonate? Because we're living in a rigged system. We're only being given certain options of who's going to represent us. And we have presidents who, after we've chosen from that pool, want to try to strip those people who we've chosen from us. So, on this day, this great Independence Day, let us all stop and consider and decide, are we going to continue to allow this tyrannical government to do what it's done and rule by bureaucracy rather than representation? Because bureaucracies now make our laws more than our representatives do. And even when our representatives do their jobs, you get big omnibus bills that you don't know what's all in it. And those who want to point out what's in it and the flaws in it get directly attacked by the president. Let's make the madness stop, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. I think it's time that we the people start having a voice again. Have a great day.